Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and boy do we have some interesting things going on in this market. We're about to cross 3 trillion in market cap. Bitcoin's heading back towards 90,000. XRP's at 69 cents. How about them apples? I'm sitting here like all of you are. I'm pulling up my portfolio. XRP is on the move, is about as good as anything, maybe more. 16.24% in 24 hours. Everybody can't quit talking about Bitcoin. I'm happy for them to do it.
Elon Musk saying that he thinks the Fed needs to maybe come under Trump or the White House or have less independence. Do you agree or disagree?
I don't have too strong an opinion on that, but I will say that there's a massive issue in the United States with the deficit, with inflation, and I do think that Bitcoin is a check and balance on irresponsible deficit spending, and to really extend the American experiment for a couple hundred more years. It's important that we don't devalue the dollar, lose the reserve currency status, and that's a big reason why people are buying Bitcoin now. Okay.
There are several interesting clips to give an idea of what's going on in the markets right now. Here's one.
The flow, this is the story, right? Sentiment leads to flows, and flows are really how we price Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a digital commodity. Supply and demand are what drive price. So flows right now are coming from, as you mentioned, the ETFs. Overall, I think it's just really important to state $84 billion of flows into the ETFs. 2/3 of the way to the total AUM of gold ETFs. This is a blockbuster year for Bitcoin. Today, MicroStrategy bought $2 billion in Bitcoin. We saw last week $2 billion of flows into the Bitcoin ETF. The prior 3 weeks, we'd seen roughly the same amount. We're seeing all-time highs in terms of volumes traded. So the flows are coming, they're strong. And I think the story is Bitcoin was contrarian, it is now consensus. So I expect a lot more inflows.
Do you think, do you think the chances are of the U.S. being a huge buyer in that it becomes a reserve currency or there is a special Bitcoin fund?
Well, the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve was obviously part of Trump's crypto and Bitcoin platform. He announced that obviously at the conference, the Bitcoin conference in the summer. I will be so happy when that happens. And Melissa, I will buy you all a drink.
Meltemans, Karen, thanks for being on today. Do you think there is some amount of supply that comes out at, let's say, $100,000, which is a round number and a target for a lot of Bitcoin bulls? Do you think that we would see supply and that maybe put a top on it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's a question we often ask ourselves. Last year, I think we were in a very different situation because there was still a lot of sellers of Bitcoin, obviously, with the FTX bankruptcy and unwind, several other high-profile bankruptcies and unwinds. We had a lot of debtors holding Bitcoin. That supply overhang of Bitcoin is mostly gone. In May, we had a Bitcoin halving. There's now half the amount of Bitcoin that's mined in every block. So the inflationary pressure from Bitcoin mining is now cut in half. That supply overhang is getting cut back. I think the volume of buying is going to greatly exceed the volume of selling. The Bitcoin miners aren't accumulating as many coins, again, because that halving cycle has happened.
Okay, that's enough of that one. I got a bunch of them. I just wanted to see a little bit of each one.
I'm going to bring a Coin Stories podcast host, Natalie Burnell, joining me by phone. So Natalie, you know what I thought was intriguing is you look at the places where Trump outperformed with young men 18 to 29, 42% are in crypto. Black Americans, 23% are in crypto, 21% of Hispanics. It's interesting to me in the sense that these are people who are finding a different way of saying, hey, I think I can get a piece of the American dream, but it's got to be something non-traditional. And you kind of you knew about this and talked about it a long time ago.
That's right, Charles. Well, Bitcoin is really the purest expression of the American dream of freedom and self-determination. And Bitcoin is a financial system that was created by the people for the people. It wasn't.
How does she know that? How does she know who it was created by?
Funded by big corporations or venture capital or government and special interest groups. It grew from the ground up entirely organically. And how often do we see something like that? I mean, Bitcoin offers this entirely new vision where we can truly own our wealth, and it really transcends politics and borders and backgrounds, which is why I think it's the opportunity of a lifetime.
I got to tell you, all young, whenever a young adult approaches me, I know 9 out of 10 they're going to ask me about cryptocurrency. Do you know that tomorrow is the 3-year anniversary, the first time that you gave that your little rant about this money printing?
I am all about Bitcoin going up, but she's been tricked. Well, she may not have been tricked. I've been convinced for years. There's a lot of these crypto pundits are fully aware that this was created by governments, or a government or governments. They're herding everybody into this. I'm all for the price going up, but it was not created by some average Joe libertarian that just wanted to be nice and not do anything with their 1 million Bitcoin supply. That's not what this is. And I know that they're having to sell that. It's not what it is. But great, it's driving the crypto market up. I'm for that. Here's the Robin Hood. I guess it's the CEO. Yeah.
Can you explain to the viewer and everybody who I think is trying to make sense of this, what under President-elect Trump we're going to see in the form of regulation that would result in prices like this and possibly even higher if you believe that's where this is all headed?
Hey, good to see you guys. Yeah, I mean, we have seen basically what people are calling the Trump pump. So there's widespread optimism that the Trump administration, which has stated that they wish to embrace cryptocurrencies and make America the center of cryptocurrency innovation worldwide, is going to have a much more forward-looking policy towards this new industry. And I think what you're seeing is the market reacting to that.
But how does that manifest itself? What does that actually look like in reality?
Well, I think the hope is for, first of all, the approach that the SEC has taken over the past 4 years, which has been regulation by enforcement, not providing clear rules of the road for companies engaging in this new industry, and in fact, just pursuing enforcement cases, essentially trying to stifle innovation, trying to stop these companies from operating in the U.S. That's pushed a lot of the really interesting innovation offshore, which I think has been unfortunate. So I think the idea is that we would see that stopping and hopefully some legislation. And now that Republicans have control over not just the executive branch, but Congress as well, that innovation might actually come through.
There you go. Common sense talk. This guy's calling for $1 million Bitcoin.
You've been calling for $100,000. It's at about 88. When do you see Bitcoin getting to 100K? And when do you see it getting to 1 million? That is what you're projecting.
Yeah. So I anticipate this time we can cross $100,000 this year by end of December 2024. I think it's very easy to get there. I think we're going to cross $90,000 within the week. And it's just 100K will be psychologically a big barrier. So there's a lot of people selling pressure near around $100,000. But I think it's easy to overcome that in the next few weeks. I think we have 7 weeks left in this year, 8 weeks left. And then for 1 million, that's a sort of even bigger milestone. We're going to see a bull market this year and next year in 2025. I think it's going to be very hard for Bitcoin to cross $1 million in this cycle. So probably one more bull market cycle. That's probably 5 to 6 years out. And there will be some major price corrections as well. So beware of that.
Okay. Dark Defender, like Clockwork Orange. $3 next is what he's calling for XRP. And then this right here is the leading pick for Treasury Secretary, billionaire hedge fund investor Scott Bessent.
I've been excited about the president's embrace of crypto, and I think it fits very well with the Republican Party the ethos of it's crypto's about freedom, and the crypto economy is here to stay. The Democrats are running from it because they're trying to wash off the stench of Sam Bankman-Fried and his family's donations to the Democratic Party. So they're willing to take down a whole industry because of bad behavior on their part, bad behavior on one actor. And I think that everything's on the table with Bitcoin. And to me, one of the most exciting things about Bitcoin is for a generation of investors who maybe post the great financial crisis have been looking for investment opportunities, or maybe they'd soured on markets. Crypto is bringing in young people. It's bringing in the people who haven't participated in markets, and having a market culture in the U.S. and people believing the markets work for them is a centerpiece of capitalism.
Okie dokie. Then this is Ron Hammond from Congress. He's basically, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but he's basically saying it's on now. Crypto and the incoming Trump admin are just getting started in D.C. From new admin picks, Let's start with incoming key announcements. Trump plans to approach crypto. Personnel is crucial. Maybe pro-crypto publicly. Major decisions will often rest with agency heads and admin staff. Almost anyone is better than the current status quo. Remember, rumors are just that. Media reporting is often a mix of facts and people promoting preferred picks. Trump has also promised to create a crypto role within the White House or an advisory council. This would be a first in terms of explicit crypto roles. So you can see where it's all kind of headed. Here is, this is the Modern Investor talking about the Ripple NDAs.
People just kind of like to be ridiculously tribal, where one thing has to be the only solution for things working out. But we've seen that a lot within the cryptocurrency space, and that's just not the way that things are. So yeah, we will probably, I don't know if we're actually going to hear anything about this. A lot of companies who are probably working with Ripple are probably going to be signing both ways, some kind of an NDA, non-disclosure agreements, where we can't necessarily, we may see them on the chain, but we won't necessarily know that Amazon or Google is digitizing things on the actual blockchain and working with Ripple. So who knows? We may have a company who kind of pops up at some point, kind of like MicroStrategy, and says, hey, we're working with Ripple, we're buying XRP, and we're digitizing stuff on the chain. Then we'll hear about it, but you don't usually realize that a lot of the big money, similar to like people who have actual wealth, like it's silent. Like you don't go around boasting about all the money that you have. It happens in the background as you continue to basically make money moves. Yeah, that's the Ripple digital custody on chain.
NDAs are definitely a factor. Then look at this. This is big right here. Look, this is from Franklin Templeton.
It cost us about $1 to do. It cost us about $1 to do that. So for us to do 50,000 transactions on a traditional rail cost $50,000. 50,000 transactions that we've done on the Stellar network has cost us $120. So there is a huge cost saving, but then that cost saving also leads to efficiencies in the sense that you don't have to do the reconciliation of multiple ledgers, you don't have to remediate issues, everyone gets the same information synchronously. Yeah, so it's a real cost that we can identify the actual saving, and then these other benefits. We spend about $200 million a year on remediation and reconciliation. If we can move all the 1.7 trillion of our assets, currently we have about 500 million. If we can move that all onto blockchain, we will save $200 million, excluding the transaction costs, which will be 0.0025 of what they are today.
Wow. Metal Lawman has he said to Gary Gensler, he said, time to say goodbye. On November 8, 2016, Trump was elected. November 14th is when Mary Jo White announces her resignation. November 3rd is when Biden was elected in 2020, and then November 16th, Jake Clayton announced his resignation. November 5th, Trump elected. So November, somewhere between the 14th and the 16th, we should see Gary Gensler announcing his resignation. I'm looking forward to that. Now, we're going to, in DAIXRP.com, we're going to talk about Fruition Productions. We're going to talk about the XRP Unleashed screenings that begin today. We're going to talk about where they start today and where they're going to be. I'm going to talk about which ones I'm going to, and I'm also going to show you one guy that should be very, very scared out there right now. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.